Welcome to the Austin All Day Podcast. I'm Jason Powers, and we are here with Chef Camden of Phoebes Diner and Chef Phil of Counter Cafe, two chefs who have both been on the podcast, who are running similar operations but had not previously met before we sat down for this episode. And now they make up the dynamic diner duo, serving breakfast at a diner near you. All jokes aside, going all the way back to episode 4 when Chef Jeff Beach from Royal Fig was in the studio, he brought up the valuable and important point that we really need to take the time to check in on one another. Chef Camden had had a rough couple weeks. It is never easy dealing with the loss of a loved one. We didn't get into any of that on this episode. We just had fun, and sometimes that's what you need. Guys, go follow us on Instagram and support the podcast on Patreon. Sit back, grab a drink, and check it out. Chef Camden, Chef Phil.
Roger.
What's up, man?
Counter Cafe and Phoebes Diner.
We get to shake hands again, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Did you go to like Cordon Bleu?
I did.
Did you tell me that last time I was here?
I do not believe I did. I did that in, what year? It should be on there. Not visible. Like, I don't know, 2012 maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Before I moved to Austin from Chicago. I put that up there so there'd be some kind of credibility here with you
Okay.
guys.
I don't have one of those, so.
You don't need one, and we've talked
So you
about
lost
that.
all credibility.
He obviously uses it every day.
Right. Well,
Obviously. He's got all the mother sauces going every single day.
says the wine over here, right?
Yeah, yeah. They don't there's a wine course. Didn't they teach you a wine course in that program?
bit.
Yeah, sorry.
I do remember the wine course.
I was too
Vaguely.
young. I was too young to actually participate in the wine course when I went to culinary school.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Really?
It,
That's a bummer. How does that work? No.
You're allowed to smell it, but you cannot drink it. And then you just listen to the Frenchman talk about all of the wine. And
They won't even let you spit it out?
No.
Really?
You cannot consume it. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
What if your parents were there?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mom and Dad.
Would that be great? They're
I'm getting a college degree.
They're in the room sitting next to you while you do your wine
Yeah,
tasting.
yeah.
that really is a bummer, though.
You have to set the wine in front of my dad so that he can pass it over to me so that I can pass the lecture. Yeah. No.
Did you pass that course?
I mean, I don't really remember. I guess so. I mean, I don't know how they couldn't condemn you
Right.
for not being able to participate. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
that's just whatever. So, anyways, good to know. There, chef.
Yeah.
Did you get your chef certification?
Yeah. That's what that is.
And that's what that is. Good for you.
I actually, what happened was I immediately.
So I'm
had
going to
a
go ahead and
child.
be the host of this show
Yeah, go
now.
for it.
Yeah, you tell us your story.
Oh
Jason.
no, I
Yeah.
don't know this. We're not going to go in this direction.
No, I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
You were saying this from the get go.
Yeah,
Who are you?
no comment.
No comment. The knife guy.
The knife guy. I
then-
do go by that, aka knife guy. It's on my ID now. But I, right after receiving that certificate, moved, had a child, got married. All the things you're not. All the stressful things you can tie up into one thing. We
Sure.
did
And were you ever a chef?
for a brief time.
Yeah, where?
At a couple bars before I ended up moving here, and then Central Market, and then Whole Foods.
Cool.
That was
yeah,
it.
They're all great places, though.
And the whole thing was having a daughter with the insurance and everything. They were very fitting places, and it was very hard to leave that to do what I do now, considering I walked away from insurance. But
I think you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Because aren't you supposed to grow up, get a degree, get in a big company, have a family, and be a cog in the machine?
well, I guess that's how it's supposed to go. But you can't, and that's why I could never work in a kitchen though.
Well,
Like,
now he
not-
works out of a truck, though. So, I mean,
a truck. With,
I can't say anything because I work out of a truck half the time, too, anyway. So
God.
what does it matter?
The truck is. How's the AC on your truck?
I mean,
Is it-
depends on the time of the year.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hot, man. It's
My experience,
It's a
I've never done a truck.
it's a big metal box. Well,
Yeah.
mine's not even a big metal box. It's 8 by 12.
A Liberation Kitchen.
It's a small Liberation Kitchen. Yeah, it's a small box. So, I mean, the hood, like, if you're talking about air displacement, the hood pulls literally, the hood is here, and 1 foot over is the AC unit.
Yeah.
So the AC
Oh,
just blows the
sucking.
air right out the hood.
Yeah.
And the hood's the size of something that you put into a restaurant. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's
I've always had the experience that no matter the size of the air conditioner, the kitchen's always too hot.
Yeah.
Except for once.
When you're cooking, it's going to be too
Once.
hot, right?
Well, the restaurant is hot too.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
That's because it's fucking fire.
Yeah. No, but
It's fucking fire, the guy says. It's fucking fire. It's
my
fucking
truck
fire.
is like a free sauna. I mean, you go in there, it's got to be 130. I mean, it really does get hot. So
Are you at least burning some incense or something in there?
yeah, no, I charge for people to get on free sauna. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
free
free.
sauna,
It's
yeah.
$5 for an hour.
I once worked at a sorority house. I ran a sorority house kitchen for a number of years. And one year, they brought in the new AC unit and they dropped it off. And I don't know if you've ever gotten like deliveries, but once something's off the truck, it's off the truck. And
Once you sign the paperwork.
once you sign the paperwork, it's off
Yeah,
the truck.
yeah.
And somebody had ordered like,
Without temping, like they checking the temps and stuff.
well, no. So here's what I'm getting at: is that someone had ordered a like 2-ton air conditioning unit to go on top of our roof, and instead what we got was like a 6-ton air conditioner. And it was amazing. The only time I've ever worked in a kitchen where I had to wear a chef coat because I was cold.
Yeah, that's not.
I wasn't like in
Because
the-
you were cold.
I wasn't in the fish room, and I
Yeah.
wasn't working the pantry like down the hall. You know, I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, there are some kitchens that I go to.
Your mittens and a chef coat on.
It was
Nice.
great.
To your point about the degree, it's kind of worked itself out where now I just go in and out of kitchens and converse with chefs,
Sure, so you're still attached. Some way.
attached in
Yeah.
some way.
In so many levels.
Yeah. I mean,
You do
it's
it
up for debate, but
you do a very important job for us.
sure,
You
sure.
do a
Yeah.
very
And
important
I
job.
think-
Appreciated by some and hated by some.
I
but,
think
you
on
know.
some level,
No,
though,
you did a
what
great
you
job.
do is totally like the way you interpret what needs to be done because you have that degree. You know what I mean? Like having been on the other
an-
side
well,
of the
that's
guy
why I got
using the
hired.
knife.
It's an appreciation for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my boss hired me because he wanted somebody with kitchen experience.
I sharpen knives. I just don't use them.
I don't know. I don't even know what you do with them.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you cook at home?
yeah. I mean,
You
here and
open the
there.
mail.
It's pretty simple. Yeah.
You open the mail.
I mean, I have a daughter. Of course, I got to cook, right? You got to show her things.
Yeah, well, I make my daughter
Pancakes,
mac and cheese like
mac
every
and
day.
cheese.
Yeah.
Annie's.
The typical. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing extravagant. Nothing
SpaghettiOs,
extravagant. Yeah. But you guys are both have diners.
Yeah.
So have you like been promoted or just by circumstance executive chef here? Because
Yeah,
Camden's
so-
running the show at
Who
Phoebe's.
are you?
You guys share two similarities. Both running the show at the diners. Phoebe's 2 is coming. It's not called Phoebe's 2. And Counter Cafe is also opening something new too.
Yeah, a third location on a
Third.
29th.
Okay.
Yeah, number
and he's
3.
going for 2.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
The counter's been around for a long time. I fell into my job basically because one of my friends screwed the pooch
Recently.
recently.
Okay.
I wasn't like, I was. I'll be honest, man. I enjoyed making my hourly and doing my 40, and I was dependable, and I was that guy who could show up.
How long
on
you been
time.
there?
This time around, I'm on 3 years. Beforehand, I had run the Lamar Kitchen a number of years ago when she had first opened up for about 2 years.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like back. And what's interesting is that gives me, I'm sure that gives me some kind of like social capital with the company, on some level.
Sure. Or the opposite, but
Or,
yeah.
it could be the opposite, but it seems to be working in my favor. Plus, I have all the old experiences because the original guy, I think his name was Eric. And I actually knew him because, oddly enough, he was friends with he knew a waitress named Jackie who was best friends with my neighbor who ended up marrying one of my good friends.
Who's your brother's uncle?
Could have been. Could have been. So I had known Eric and I had gotten a job there. And when I first worked there, I took on the lead role and I helped redesign the menu. Well, let the menu alone, redesign the recipes and like portion things and just balanced it out a little bit. There was like a bunch of weird stuff going on. Like we do our own sausage and, fat is a flavor, but at some point in the cooking process, fat just becomes grease. So if you add too much of something like fat into like your sausage or whatever, when you fry it up, man, it's like splattery, greasy, and it just shrinks down because there's not enough meat in there. So we had this recipe, and we were adding and we use like Nyman Ranch, and so it's
Awesome.
it's fairly, it's not inexpensive stuff, and so we were adding like an extra 2 pounds of or 3 pounds of bacon into our sausage mix. And I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get the smoke effect, I mean, we can do a lot of other things. Like, we could actually smoke the meat. I don't know, but so that was then. And when a friend of mine who had been working with the company, things fell. There's like 9 sides to every story. So he was removed from the picture and got displaced, and we lost a couple people at the same time. Like, we basically had our senior staff. Our leader of our senior staff and one of the new hires basically both no-showed on Mother's Day.
Perfect.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of that day, I mean, who knows? Like,
At the end of that day,
I
cried myself to sleep.
I
Yeah.
I became basically. I ended up taking on the role of the executive. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've got
two locations.
So 2
third-
locations.
Third coming.
And Phoebe's is. That's Where are you guys?
Old Tour.
Southwest
by the Diamond Shamrock, right?
It's a Texaco, but yes.
Texaco. Sorry, I think it used to be. Anyway.
It maybe used to be. There used to be a Popeyes across the street.
Right.
And then Starbucks blew it up and built Starbucks. So.
And then there's a Habanero's next to you guys.
Habanero's is
That place is so good. I was just talking about that place. I love
yeah,
that joint.
Yeah, dude, they crush it too.
Yeah,
they do a great job. So my partners own Wine Belly, and they got the space next to that with another partner, the Gilt Nail Salon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they're right there on that strip, and
then there used to be a coffee shop there. I think it burned down.
it did actually. Fun story since we've been chatting or whatever. So it used to be Green Muse.
Yes.
Right, Green Muse. So, all right, I get a call at oh man, I don't even know. So I get up at 3:30 pretty much every morning to go to work. Right.
Right.
I got a call at 2:30, and my partner's like, "Hey, dude, somebody threw a rock through 2 of our windows, all that sort of stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, it sucks." So, what do you need from me? And he's like, "We're taking care of it. We're cleaning it up. We're putting a box on the window, right?" So this happens. Then Wine Belly, 2 nights later, gets a rock through their window, and then. A couple nights later, Thrive, which is it's owned by the PetSmart people. It's an affordable dog care veterinary sort of thing. It's right next door to us. They get a rock through their window. Well, they're so Wine Belly and those windows are these huge plate glass windows that cost thousands of dollars. Yeah. Wow. And so there's this guy. His name's Martin. He's a homeless guy that lives in the park behind us.
Oh,
and he's coming up, and he apparently screws with a bunch of stuff, right? Well, he came in a couple nights later because we're thinking, God, did we fire somebody? Did we piss somebody off? What's going on? We start putting cameras up, and we see this guy. We talk to, there's a food truck, a halal food truck right around the corner there, the halal guys or whatever right there. And he hires homeless people to help him at night and clean up and
kidding?
stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. They the people that need some help and stuff.
Sure.
Right now, he's got some sketchier people, but they're like, "Oh yeah, we know that family. The dad has lived in the park forever. Those 2 brothers have lived in the park forever, and they're super disturbed, right?" So he came in, and somebody flipped the breaker to the power in the restaurant. And it just so happened that that was the night they threw the rock through Wine Belly. And my partners, I have 3 partners, they came up, and one of them, who's the more industrious one, he does all the maintenance for all the restaurants and stuff in our group. He comes in, he says, "Why are the emergency lights on in Phoebe's?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, I didn't even notice." So he goes on, he's like, "That means the power's off." So he goes off, and they go in and they figure out that they flipped a breaker. Well, it was this dude, right?
Yeah.
This guy, come to find out, so we start calling the cops every day. He's threatening. He beat one of our waiters' cars who was parked in between. He broke Martin.
Oh, my goodness.
Broke the window, smashed the car, just enraged, but we didn't get it on video because it was between the buildings and whatever. So, and he would come up to the windows and point at the girls in the front early in the morning and just taunt, right?
Whoa.
So... Come.
Martin sounds like a total asshole, man.
Yeah, we started calling him Marty. And it's like, oh, Marty. And Mike came, we went out one morning, and there was a little bit of some rage one morning, and Mike came, who love him. he went off on the guy, and we never really got messed with after that. But I lost my train of thought. So Marty broke the windows. He did all that sort of stuff. Oh, so he's the one that burned down Green Muse. Oh my God. He went in there years ago, and that's why he wasn't there for a long time, because they sent him off to some whatever penitentiary or something like that, or psychiatric ward. So he's the guy. He went in there and asked for a cup of coffee.
What is Green Muse?
Green Muse was a coffee shop where Wine Belly is.
Okay.
So it was a coffee shop.
And it was pretty cool. It had a certain vibe to it, and it was going to be cool.
It was old school South Austin. It was there for quite a while. They had a patio in the back and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Well, he went in there and tried to get a cup of coffee, and the guy basically said, "You don't have enough money. You need to leave, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I'm going to burn this place down." And he burned the place down.
Wow.
So it's wild, right? It's so wild.
Martin means what he says.
Martin is a,
Take my stapler.
No, dude. No, he was beyond that. You should have some of the stuff. So I get there at 3, or no, I don't get there at 3. I get up at 3:30. I go in there. I'm there by 4:15 most mornings. The stuff that they just yell in that park. I mean, and you're just by yourself. I mean, I have a blowtorch to light the smoker, right? So that's my saving grace. And I'm 6'3", and they're all like 5'2". But that's a different story. But dude, it's a little bit sketchy.
What do you guys think about, like, Austin, the growing population, and like we've got homeless everywhere, and I mean,
oh, dude, man, I got 10,000 thoughts on that.
I mean, it's rough, right?
It is rough.
Yeah.
It is rough. A lot of that comes down to policies.
I guess we don't need to get too crazy into that, but I mean,
I don't think we need to talk politics, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's too much, man. It's too much. It's when they're beating up cars of female employees and they're making them feel uncomfortable when they're walking back to their cars. I mean, after a shift, I mean, they have hundreds of dollars on them, and it's not safe.
No,
it's not safe at all. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's
I get
uncool.
if we're arguing why people are homeless and not homeless and whether we're doing a good job or whatever or not, but at the end of the day, it's like we have to care. Like I have to care for this man. If he's working for me, or if I'm working for him, I would hope the same thing.
Sure.
He could get jumped, shot, stabbed. Those guys are off the kilter.
Yeah, we had a guy. He wasn't. I mean, not to sound like pejorative, but he wasn't fucking crazy. But he was definitely an asshole, and he was a jerk. And I don't think he had a secure lifestyle. He was actually in the restaurant, and he pushed one of our waiters. And you can't. You have to have an open heart, but you can't have people accosting your clients and your staff.
Yeah, I like to think.
And your automobiles.
Then where they're throwing rocks through windows, I mean, that's costing companies, that's costing our staff.
Sure.
We all pitched in, my partners and myself, and then some of the staff or whatever. But we paid for the majority of her car to get fixed.
Right.
Because it's not her fault. It's not.
No. Yeah.
It's not our job to do that. But at the same time, it's like. Yeah. It's a fucked up situation, and it's not safe, and we want our employees to feel safe, and we care for them, and we were very active about it. But it's
no secret that I sharpen knives, right?
Are you homeless?
No.
Okay.
It's no secret I sharpen knives, but I was at Italic. And,
did you break our windows?
Yeah, right. No, that was Martin. I thought we've established this, right? Martin did this.
Do you have a brother?
No. Yes, I do. He's in New Orleans. But I'm at Italic, and I usually give most people the benefit of the doubt. And, some people will ask me, including homeless people, hey, I got a pocket knife. You want to sharpen it? And I usually, that'll make your day. And I did this, and Chef Drew Italic, he came up, man, and he was pissed. And I was like, well, what, man, he just needed his knife sharpened. Like, it's a tool, right? And apparently, I don't know how the timeline, but before that, they had a homeless guy chasing somebody with a knife. And here I am, I'm like, let me sharpen that up for you. Yeah. So he was not happy. I mean, we talked about it, and I just had no idea. So where I give people the benefit of the doubt, you just never know. I mean, when I pull over and somebody's giving me something, no offense to anybody who's ever given me anything, that I see a homeless guy, give him a rack of ribs. I like to do that, but you never know. I mean, it could be Marty. I don't want to fuel that guy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about your situation, but like I've certainly felt used
Oh, dude.
in the past where you hear the
Yeah.
story, you feel bad, and you're like, you know what? Here's your thing.
Yeah.
And then he's telling the same story a month
Sure.
later to somebody
Well,
else, and it's just like,
what
come
my
on,
whole
dude,
thing is
like,
we hear about Skid Row
Yeah.
in California. and
compassion.
I see that.
Fuck compassion when it comes to those people.
Yeah,
I mean,
I kind of feel that way.
all right.
too.
So before you get into your Skid Row California thing,
no,
I
let's
used-
skip over it.
I used to. We can come back to. I used to. So when I was at the bakery,
Yeah.
when I was at Walton's, right, we took, and I think I said this in the last podcast. We would take. So we made fresh bread every day for all the sandwiches, for everything that we did, and then we would sell on our bread rack. We would sell day old bread so that people would want to come in and buy the day old bread for nothing.
Yeah, it's because other bakeries, they just throw it away.
Yeah, and it's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not the fresh bread that we would put on our sandwiches and stuff. And then the next day, I bagged all the stuff and I took it down to the
You're
Ark.
killing his recording, dude, with your hands.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all right.
fine. It's fine.
These are
There's
pretty good.
aggression. Aggression.
Serious.
I
These
talk
points
with,
are
I talk and
accented.
boom. I talk with my hands. I
Emphasis.
got called out at a bar the other day with
For
my
slamming?
wife for I just did something and I was like fucking blah 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 and I hit and the whole bar stopped and I was like, I apologize. I was making a point. I didn't realize that your bar was unsturdy and I was going to shake the entire restaurant with me pounding my fist.
And this is why Camden has not opted for whiskey tonight.
Yeah, no. I'm just a passionate person. But so then we would take the bread, and this is a passionate thing of mine, right? We would take the bread and we would take it to the Ark.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't get the paperwork to do the write-offs. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit.
No, you're
I
just
was-
taking the bread down
You're
to feed
taking
the
the
people.
bread to
Yeah,
feed
yeah.
the people and care,
Yeah.
and just like I didn't want to throw it in the trash. And there's nothing wrong with 2-day-old bread, 3-day-old bread, or whatever. I mean,
No,
the
when you're
bread-
fucking hungry, it's
yeah,
not.
well,
No.
and then there was nothing wrong with it. That's not what our protocol was at the
Sure.
restaurant. But I took it down there and I pulled up in the front, and I don't remember the. Yeah, right. I don't.
Can you imagine? Right.
Tuesday.
Sorry.
I pulled up in the parking area in the front, throw on the flashers, pull out the trash bags full of bread, and I mean trash bags literally, but. I would pull them out, and I don't remember the KM at that point in time. He's probably not the same guy because he got probably tired of the same bullshit that I'm talking about right now, and he did it every day on purpose. When I walked in, and they're just like, "Oh, you again? Do you have anything other than bread?"
No.
And I'm just like, I mean,
You can't live on bread alone.
That's what we, yeah.
You probably can.
Hey,
What the hell?
do you have any
you.
Do you have any capicola today?
And he's like, "Why don't you bring some steaks or blah 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 blah?" And I'm just like, "You ungrateful son of a bitch!"
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
and that's,
Okay, I got one for you.
it's just like, what the fuck?
This
And-
totally ties in. A friend of mine drops off some food to a homeless guy on the corner. Across the street, it's like a Wendy's. Pulls through, dollar meal. Hey, hungry guy, you want some food? Guy's like, no, man, I can't, dude. I'm a vegetarian. And my buddy's like, okay, cool.
Fuck off.
What about,
Yeah.
give the burger to your dog? Sorry, brah. He's a vegetarian too.
No.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I think my friend of mine, my buddy Jared Brown, Transgressors, awesome band. Learned the plug, man. I got plug on the brain.
There we go.
He was just like, seriously? Your dog's your dog's a vegetarian? Are you homeless and dumb? Like you don't understand like evolution and canines and
That's crazy.
why wolves chase caribou?
My
Well,
uncle,
it's very easy to get jaded with this
Yeah.
subject. Yeah.
yeah, my uncle who's a bishop in the Mormon Church, whatever. They went to New York with my parents, and they came up, and this woman's like, "Yeah, can I have some money, right?" And then he's like, "Why don't I take you in this store right here, and I'll buy you diapers for your kid, and I'm going to do this and this and this." And she's like, No. And he's like, "Well, why not? You need diapers, and you said you needed food and all that sort of stuff." And I mean, he's a religious man. He's a good guy, anyways. I mean, he's an amazing individual. But for her to be like, "Nope, not doing that.
What's the cash?
Can you just give me the money?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I won't give you the money, but I'll buy you what you need." And he was willing to spend hundreds of dollars
Sure.
on doing that, and she just wanted the money.
She can't fence that shit.
Yeah. So
I had a guy at the store one time. I was at HEB. I'm with my daughter, and he walks up and he's like, hey man, I got this card. It's like a WIC card or something for groceries. And he's like, can you give me some, if you buy the groceries and get the card, I'll let the card pay for your groceries, but then you get cash on your card and then you give me the cash. And I was like, man, I can't do that for you. And he's like, well, I went to the hospital and I need some meds and I can't get my meds. I was like, well, what do you need meds for? Because sometimes people bang heroin, they're calling heroin meds. And sometimes people legitimately have like fucking heartburn, I don't know, diabetes or something. And he's like, well, I got a mild case of staph. And I'm like, okay, so you go ahead and take 2 steps back. But here's what I will do for you.
With your daughter, right?
Yeah. And I was like, I got to keep my daughter safe. I was like, here's what I'll do. You tell me what you need. I'll buy you your groceries. You keep the card, and I'll give you like $50. And he was like,
You made that way too hard for him.
he was like, but I'll just give you the card and you use it for your groceries. Like, I don't need you to buy me groceries, man. I got cash, so I'll buy my own groceries.
Yeah.
I'll buy you groceries, and I'll give you. But the $50 was like not what he needed.
Tell you what.
Wasn't
Tell you
enough.
what. I'm gonna go in there. I'll buy you some cold cuts. You keep the herpes, and I'll give you $50 to buy your bottle of vodka.
And
How does that sound?
And he was so confused, and he was like, "Well, what am I going to do with the groceries?" I was like, "Come on, man." I was like, "You're homeless, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You fucking living under the bridge over here around the corner?" It was like at 51st, the HEB at Hancock Center.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you over in a tent?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Come on, like the people around you, like either they are your friends or they're not your friends. But you show up with a bag full of groceries. The people who aren't your friends are going to be your friends for at least like the next 12 hours. So you can't So here, dude,
So what do you do?
So eventually, I convinced him to take the free money and the free groceries. But it was hard, dude. It was so outside of his reality.
Yeah.
It was hard. He couldn't. He was like, I keep the card, I get the stuff, and I get money.
It's too good to be true.
Yeah, it was weird.
Anyways. Off the homeless rant. Off the homeless rant that we just went on.
No, but for real, this is
we just killed like 30 minutes on homeless people.
This is a very Austin thing, dude. This is
true.
This is a universal. I think
we deal with this every day.
Every day,
in
restaurateurs, man.
No, it's and like I just said, Chef Drew and it's everywhere. I mean, I'm sure people will.
If you have a
get
dumpster,
something from
somebody
that.
is diving.
Drew's got all those restaurants downtown. So I mean,
Yes, it's true, yeah.
24 Diner. I mean, I'm sure that's a mess.
Yeah.
Oh man, is he still around? I like that guy.
Yes,
Drew from 24.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Drew Curran. Yeah,
He's a cool cat. I met him.
Come on the podcast. I asked him. I need to get him out here.
I met him
his
years
wife
ago.
is the pastry chef
Yeah.
Okay, yes. They both need to come over here.
I met with him when I was working at the counter the first time on Lamar, and that was like
They're right down the street, dude. You guys
they're
are
next door to
neighbors.
each other.
You guys are
But
neighbors.
sometimes people who are neighbors aren't exactly friendly.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes there's like the idea of competition, and there's like fuck you, I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows.
Right.
Hey man,
Well,
your boss lady owner used to come into my restaurant all the time.
Dude, she was crazy.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I love you, Debbie. I'm not gonna say your last name.
Does she still own it?
Oh yeah, she's still around, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I was
she
surprised
owns
that
the
you-
restaurants though, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, she was rad. She used to come into the restaurant.
Turner son, dude. I will tell you, and Deb knows this because I've told her, and so I'm not like airing any kind of dirty laundry. When Yelp first started, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Yelp!" And I was like, "I don't care. You just can't review. You can't read reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Reviews are these tiny fragments in time that are non-representational of the person you are, or the thing that you're creating, or the job that you do. You just can't read. The reviews.
you.
Yeah.
Well, do you feel that way too?
bad. What?
You feel that same, or you can't read them? Like you're on.
Well,
the same
you can
page?
I don't read them.
You can
I
read them.
Man,
You just like they can't matter.
FOH management. Everywhere I've ever worked, owned, run, been the chef at, they relay the things that I need to know, and if there's something that I need to know, then they'll send it to me. Otherwise, I do not read them.
I'm
So
smelling
I had,
myself just to make
Chef,
sure.
Chef Miguel.
Soul crushing. I'm just fucking with
Yeah.
you. I'm being a Yelp reviewer. I'm sitting right next to this guy, and oh my god. No,
Well,
I'm
it's
just
interesting
fucking
that
with
you guys say this, and we had Miguel. Well, I guess it's a different because he's a hotel.
There's
with
different.
Branduca,
There's different
so-
kinds of reviews though.
Yeah.
On like social media with like Yelp and whatever, you want to have an overall positive vibe, right?
Yes.
And everyone knows
It's
that,
it's still a thing. Like
Yeah.
you still have to
approach it and deal with
appreciate it.
Yeah.
If they're all bad, it's gotta be addressed.
Yeah.
Right. If
If-
it's all bad, then you're really probably doing something
Yeah.
wrong.
Yes.
I mean,
And then
you know what I
there are the people who like compare and contrast restaurants that have no business being compared and contrasted. They're apples and oranges. Granted, they're all like, sure, they both come from a tree. But then again, like a lot of us breathe oxygen. That doesn't mean we have something in common.
So it's subjective reviews versus objective reviews.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, there's no box that you go through, right? There's no rubric that you use on Yelp to determine what your experience is. It's just that your experience. And Yelp itself is like the sound a wounded animal makes, right? So it's entirely an emotional.
Somebody make that noise.
It's an emotional and like a response, man. It's purely emotional. There's no rationality to it. So anyway, what I was getting at was that, and I love Debbie. I love you. Every time we got a bad Yelp review, it was usually because Debbie was just like, keeping that place fucking rocking. She will take your food away from you if you're sitting too long. She's like, I need the chair. You gotta go now. Yeah. She'll fucking pull your plate.
Yeah.
And people didn't take kindly to it.
Well, sure. Coming to relax. I had a conversation last night that you couldn't possibly have heard yet, but Chef Miguel is at the Hotel Grand Duca. When he gets a bad review on Yelp, he will leave his personal phone number with the person who put the review in. But I guess that's totally different because he's in like a hotel where people are staying.
So I worked at a hotel for a year.
And I wanted to, real quick, you've been cooking in the industry for how long?
20 years.
In Chef Phil?
I don't even know, man.
Long time. Both of you guys.
I don't know.
Hey, I'm younger than you. Don't be shy.
I've stopped counting because like the industry is a big phrase. I've never worked in a hotel though.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've done I worked in Alaska with like a fishing camp, so it wasn't quite lodge, but it was borderline. Cool. Never worked at a hotel, but I've been cooking for a long, long time.
Sure.
Yeah, it's merit scores, dude. It was really hard getting sat down. It was a young hotel, and you just get your ass whooped. I applied for one thing, I got another thing, I ran it, and I did it, and I made it work, right? And I could have stayed, but I left. The whole point of working for the hotel is to leave the country, to have life experiences, and dude.
Speaking of, you just did that.
People work for hotels because you get like discounted room and board.
I mean,
you go.
So, and
sometimes insurance.
Yeah, there's insurance, there's benefits, there's all that sort of stuff. But it was really the goal was to move and to take my wife with me and to go experience new things, and then I would make the money and she would figure it out and all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't really a big deal, but being bitched at by TPS reports, office space style. I mean, it was just a fucked up thing, man. Every single head of everything would come down and yell at me, except for the director of my department, which was the executive chef. And, he knew what I was doing, and the execs who they knew what I was doing and accomplishing for that hotel. But it got exhausting getting yelled at by everybody every single day because of their inabilities to give me what I needed to do. I didn't have the tools that I needed to do my job. And I mean, I'm not a needy person, man. Like, I work every day in the restaurant.
Hotel's big operation. A lot different
I'm not asking that. I work the grill station. I work the egg station. I work the omelet station in the hotel. I work this and this. I do it to this day. I'm not needy. I don't need cooks to just do shit to do shit. I'm very cognizant of what it costs to run a restaurant and all that sort of stuff. But it's just when you get bitched at every single day, like I said, for merit scores or for whatever scores, in which are Yelp reviews essentially by the people staying there.
The algorithm is telling us that our happies are down.
Exactly. Exactly, right?
I sympathize. I couldn't do that. Yeah.
And so when you get, so we work in an industry, and I think we touched on this last time. When you work in an industry, it's like, man, what other industries can you go work in where you can get shit on 100 times a day? You know what I mean? What other industries can you do that? Like literally.
Well, legal industries.
Let's
qualify that.
All right. Well, this is a dirty chef we're talking to, and this is what we do. Right. But like,
I just meant like if you're in a sweatshop in Southeast
you just
Asia.
You just got to poop.
You just got to get put up with like the guy locking you in the room and telling you, Okay, so like shit on a friend of mine.
Did you get locked in a room? Where are we going with this?
Well, okay, I was gonna say like
More
poor
details, please.
labor jobs. Like a friend of mine, she literally had a job at one point in her
Is
life
this going the direction you thought it was?
where
going
she had to
go?
cut the heads
Not
off
at
of chickens. She could leave the room, but like in some places you get fucking locked into the sweatshop, and they're like, guess what? All you're gonna get is bitched at all day while you sew and sweat, and you can't leave. And it's true.
bad.
It's demoralizing. It doesn't matter if it's in the first world or the third world. Always being told that what you're doing isn't good enough and it's not getting you what you need.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
when the people who are telling you these things they're not really going by anything than somebody else's opinion.
Right.
And that's the thing about like Yelp and these things is that they're not rubric based. You're not being graded like a Michelin star. How many tablecloths? How many times you change the tablecloths tonight between the tastings? 100 times.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get 3 stars. It's like you have to there's this rubric you have to adhere to. Emotions don't have rubrics. Emotions are like, you know what? I was out and I need to get a room and they didn't have a room and my boyfriend had just broke up with me or my girlfriend had just broke up with me and I was pissed off and
That's exactly what we were talking about
Yeah.
last night. Like,
Come on.
a Yelp review can be like the pivotal point from like, woke up, everything went wrong the entire day, and then you sit down for dinner when it's your time to relax and something comes out wrong. And then you decide to make a review. But it's really your life speaking.
It's your life.
It's not
Straw
the
broke the
food.
cable.
Your 6-year-old didn't get a nap,
Yeah.
Right.
and
It's just,
then
anything,
she's
right?
pissed
Anything.
or whatever, and then you have to deal with that, and then you get the repercussions of that because you didn't handle it correctly and all that sort of stuff.
It's
So
a good point.
So here's my Yelp, because you mentioned that a second ago that I had just gotten back, right? So I was
where'd
traveling,
you
Ho Chi Minh City, and then Chiang Mai, Thailand, and then back over to Seoul to fly out, and then back home.
Your daughter was with you?
No, she was in Tulum with her
Okay.
mom.
Okay, cool.
So, I'm in Vietnam.
I'll probably be in Tulum next week.
Oh, dude, that's badass.
Yeah, we
good
get
for you.
Yeah.
Summertime's a vacation time. It's slow.
Yeah.
So we're in Thailand, my girlfriend and I, and we're staying at this place, and we're in the jungle, and this is like what they do is they hire elephants from people who have elephants that work for them instead of buying them and being like, okay, we'll just buy and take care of this elephant, and then the guy who's like mean to elephants goes and buys more elephants. They just rent them full time.
Rent them, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, enslaved elephant. Here, here's what you have to do. You got to come to our place, and you have to have like a cushy job. You have to work for us. We got to keep you tied up at night, but other than that, you get to walk around and take baths, and people feed you bananas, and it's great, man. And there's
This
two.
is you?
This
Is
is
this you?
this is where I was at, right?
Okay.
I'm not the elephant,
Okay.
but metaphorically,
People don't feed
I
you
might
bananas?
be.
What? Okay.
I might be.
Gotcha.
My bananas are different bananas. So we're at this place, and we get when you're staying on the reserve, so to say, and on site, they give you like a gratis breakfast, right? So it's included. It's not really gratis because it's in the price, but it's included. And it's 2 hard-boiled eggs. It's 2 containers of yogurt. It's 2 different croissants. Well, it's 1 croissant and then 1 like pain chocolat. So it's like the chocolate croissant. And then you get a bowl of fruit. It's this very continental breakfast. 2 pieces of cold toast. I don't know how that seeped into like the continental mentality, but I guess later you put in your pocket. But 2 pieces of cold toast, some butter, and it was fantastic. And they also had a menu, and you could order from the menu, and you could get anything on the menu all day. Like if it was 9:00 in the morning and they were serving coffee and you were in the mood for chicken satays, that guy back there, who very possibly was harvesting the chickens and roosters that were running around the complex, was going to like make you a chicken satay, right? He's going to get it to you.
Sure.
And I heard people complain because it was like taking too long. And I'm thinking to myself, man, you're in Thailand, northern Thailand, in the mountains. I'm like,
Were they white people?
very much so. And I
that's
guarantee you they had social accounts and they probably Yelp. And they're so fucking entitled, man. And I was like, myself, with my experience in Alaska and just working in the industry, I was like, do you know how amazing it is that I just got like a continental breakfast from some like
You're soaking it in.
incredibly like the company that's there, they have a program called it's like Daughter Upward or Upward Daughter or something. What they do is they take women and girls who would otherwise like just be homeless like transients because they're displaced from their communities and they end up in the sex trade or whatever. They're teaching them like hospitality skills and English. And so when I heard someone complain like, oh, the something wasn't in my room, I was like, well, of course it wasn't in your room. These people are all trainees. If you expect it in your room, then you're in the wrong hotel. You go someplace with an experienced staff.
Sure.
But also, are they not just trainees? They're also on like their fourth language. And so when you're complaining about not having a bath mat and they're understanding you, you have to like comprehend the amount of work that goes into this. And there people are just so unappreciative, and I was taken aback. I was like, everything you do is amazing. You can take as long as you need to get me. Dude, they had this drink thing. Buy 2 drinks during happy hour and get a third drink, or a bundle of bananas for the elephant. And you'd be surprised at how many people took advantage of the bundle of bananas.
I would probably do that.
Bananas every time.
Oh, dude, because the drinks were so cheap. You're like, I could buy like 100 of them and keep the elephants fed just doing this. It was great.
Awesome, man.
So the trip was good?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Total
He
mindfuck.
hated it. It was
Total mindfuck.
Besides that experience, I mean, listening to people.
Hey, so what do you want to talk about now that we've done bullshitted our way through like 45 minutes of whatever?
I really,
homeless people and just
we could have
and
pointers,
sex, drugs, rock and roll, Yelp.
I think Yelp is actually a legitimate thing to talk about. But
for sure.
If I'm just going to pull something out of my hat, we could talk about walk-ins.
Walk-ins?
Walk-in coolers?
There you go. You guys have
walk-ins. Pros and cons. Pros, they exist. Cons, when they're not there.
When they break, we're mad.
Yes.
I had a chef today. I'm not going to mention her name, but she had a pastry chef leave on her, and she said that she's been stressed out of her mind. She's going to come on the podcast, but she's been stressed.
The person that left or the person that was the lefty?
Oh, no, that's a great round table.
You should have both of them at the same, but you should make sure that mic works over there.
So they don't chef therapy. Right. You guys are going to sit in
Ultimate
here.
rock, paper, scissors, go.
No, I would love to mitigate that. That would be...
Yeah, no, it's...
I've been doing that for years. I'm sure he has, too.
It would have to be coordinated as a complete
You know
surprise.
how much therapy is involved in what we do? Like how much psychology, if you will?
So what is the walk-in?
It's 99% conflict resolution.
Well, here, let me wrap up where this
the walk-in. Yeah, sure.
So she's lost her pastry chef. She's stressed out of her mind. She's working extra hours. She's great. I wish I could mention her name. I could, but I'm not going to. And she said that she was in the walk-in the other day, and or multiple times, she's like been in there just like trying not to cry. She's like stressed out.
Oh, well, then
of her
she's
mind.
not using the walk-in properly. You go in the walk-in and you cry.
Okay.
And you let it all out. And then you leave the walk-in and nobody knows. You have to cry in the walk-in.
So walk-ins.
Yeah, you got to cry.
You got anything?
If you're holding back in the walk-in, you might as well just go back on the line or out front on the floor because
there you go. If you're listening, go ahead and just.
If you're listening, episode number 29.
the walk-in is therapy.
For sure. It's also a good drug stash.
Drug stash?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So secret use for the walk-in is not so secret
in between
anymore.
The parsley and the cilantro is the thyme.
The fans that sucks the smoke right out, all that sort of stuff. I've never done that, but I hear it works great. But
it's a great way to get a cold. Hotline walk-in. Open the freezer.
Have you actually gotten a cold like that?
Man, I've come really close to catching like a summertime flu from going in and out and in and out and in and out. It feels good at first, but it's a good way to like get. To catch a chill.
Hypothermia?
It's not quite hypothermia because
I'm just fucking.
Yeah, but I'm thinking hypothermia.
I understand. Yeah, most likely hypothermia. You're probably gonna die if you do that.
Or high.
Yeah.
So you're breezing over that they've got fans and ventilation and there's places but there's maybe people listening who have no idea. So the walk-in.
The walk-in
refrigerator.
It's a walk-in refrigerator that you have.
It's like a cold walk-in closet, but instead of hanging dresses, you hang beef.
There are walk-in freezers.
There are walk-in freezers.
Walk-in freezers are terrible. Counting inventory in a walk-in freezer is...
I was going to ask about inventory and
you basically...
You put on a scarf and a parka if you need to.
Gloves. I mean, you might as well dress like you're going to the Siberia.
I think walk-ins are very
It's like that scene in Rocky. When he's in there, he's all fucking bundled up. He's got the towel on. And he's like just punching the beef.
Sweating, but punching the beef, man.
Yeah, it's like 20 degrees.
That's what we call that when we go in the walk-in. We're punching the beef. But I mean, it holds all our stuff. But at the same time, you can go in there and you can have your little private conversation with your kitchen manager or your staff person, and nobody knows the difference. Or your front of the house guy goes back there and says, "Oh, I'm just checking on the supply of blah blah blah," and they go in there and they smoke a bowl real quick, and then they come out and
ventilation.
It takes it. I mean, the fan just sucks it straight up and blows it out the roof or whatever. So I mean, you never know.
And today, a bowl equals these vapes. I mean, you could smoke a vape on the line.
Nobody's smoking a bowl in a walk anymore, dude. That's old technology.
Old school.
Maybe you and I.
I mean, yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, maybe like you and I would be the kind of guys be like, "Hey, man, I'm smoking a bowl in the walk."
Yeah.
But yeah, because vaping is like,
and like, I've been smoking all day, and you didn't even know. And I'm just like, I don't even know, dude.
I don't even.
I don't even.
So
know.
you said something about kitchen managers and staff and differentiation. Do you guys, up until recently, we've all worn like the same shirts, and I've found it to be psychologically disadvantaged.
At Counter Cafe?
Yeah, like what I've found is because, and I don't know what you guys do for like how you staff your seniority and the people who are around, but because we have 2 restaurants, I found it to be overly complicated to have like 2 different staffs. So what I've done is I've combined the 2 staffs into like one staff. So we have one cadre of cooks, and they float through it back and forth. And in doing so, some of the older people, some of the people that have worked at the different, it depends on which restaurant you're at, but one of the other restaurants.
Yeah, like the old school people, the tenured people.
Right. When a new person comes in, oftentimes they're resistant to change. They're reluctant to take direction. There's like, sometimes you think it's ego, because this is like speaking back to his psychology and like what you have to do to deal with people.
Sure.
So I haven't had to, but recently I've made the decision to reinstitute a chef coat for the senior staff. I didn't think I would have to. I didn't really ever want to, because I liked the casual and the kind of the horizontal feel. But what I found was, if like one of my coworkers who had authority was going back and forth between places, somebody who should have been listening to that authority wasn't listening. And I had to give them some kind of cue other than like them having a conversation with someone that's a friend of theirs telling them they
bringing back the brigade, huh?
Yeah. So, and it's not really bringing back the brigade in the sense of like,
it's a statute of respect. I mean,
but there is like a hierarchy now. And I was wondering if you guys have anything like that, whether it's apron colors or shirt design.
Before you answer that, I'm glad you mentioned, because the way
somebody wears a giant fucking feather headdress,
Well, the way Counter is, when you talk about how Counter Cafe run, I think Phoebe's is way different. I don't know. You haven't talked about like day-to-day operations, but it sounds a little more. I guess I don't.
That's
know.
why you have me here.
Yeah, but I mean, very different dynamics, right? And I mean, like, you're opening up a second location. Might you have 2 people working there and there?
Maybe, probably not. So I don't really do the chef coat thing. And one of the things I said on the last time I was here was, I've been fine dining. I've been in hotels. I've been here and here and all over the place. And I just kind of got to the point where, like, if you see what I'm wearing right now with these big steel toe boots and white socks, I typically have pants on, but then the T-shirt, and I smoke meat pretty much every single day.
Sure.
It's more.
But you, as an owner or a partner or a head,
sure,
people know who you are.
Right. But I also have the thought of, it's not necessarily about the chef coat. I when I work downtown, I wear a chef coat every day.
Are you at Phoebe 7 days a week?
Not anymore.
Okay.
No.
But you're always in the past, typically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That would be like that's how I identify who's in charge there.
Yeah, no, everybody knows. It's we have our partnership and all that sort of stuff, and then the trailer. I mean, obviously, a trailer is a completely different thing. It's a hot box. I mean,
so do you have like a sous chef? Do you have like a right hand man?
He's my KM, and he very much wants to. He likes the identification of power and authority, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's telling you to get him a beer.
That's what I was trying to do. Silently, top shelf. There you go. That'll work, my man.
Squeaky chair sounds beer.
Yeah, sure. Bring them both. It doesn't matter.
Because I really wish I didn't have to. I mean, for me,
I understand why. I do understand why. And when So, to answer your question on the psychology side of things, right? We've been doing this a really long time,
Okay.
and we've been appreciative of whatever we come across, right? You and I, we see what other people do. We respect the people we promote,
Right.
all that sort of stuff. But those young guns that come up, they like the feeling of coming up and getting
Sure,
that
sure.
representation.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to give that to them. And, and I've thought about a couple different ways. And opening a second location, I think I'm absolutely going to give some sort of hierarchy status to those people
Right.
that are running those kitchens. But right now, I mean, we're a family. We get people coming in, and they're like even cooks and restaurant people that come in from other cities that come into the restaurant. They sit there and be like, man, you guys are having a good time back there. They're like singing and dancing and stuff. And I mean, not to say that we're just fucking off back there,
Right.
but like, dude, we get our asses beat literally every day, as you guys do, especially at the Lamar. I haven't been in the new, the east side location, with
Dude.
the Lamar location. I mean, it's so small. You guys are just going.
So
All the
East
time
Side
go.
is just like that, only like double the size.
So you guys get it. So, I mean,
Like
they're-
300 covers a day on a fucking Saturday, and you're just
Yeah.
like, and we do get beat up. And I didn't ever want to have, I liked the horizontal, but what I found was, like I said earlier, that if with the second location, if someone was working at the second location, like say, Phoebes too, right?
Sure.
Or Phoebes, right?
Phoebes.
yeah.
Phoebes. It's like ringside at Sullivan's.
Obviously, that worked out really well, didn't it?
Or the B side, or the B side at the bitter end, right? The B
Yeah.
side. There's the A side, the B side. But like when you have someone come
I do.
from somebody come over, and they're like, okay, the original Phoebe's guys, like I've been here for like however long, and then the new hire who's been hired for whatever reasons they've been hired for, he or she has a job to do. If they go to the old, to the original location, and they're trying to maintain and implement that the standards and the things that are coming from like upper management or whatever. I've found that like with us, there's two things that happens. One is we get people that aren't able to shift and change comfortably, and they're resistant to someone they don't know telling what's like, I'm not going to have someone I don't know tell me what I know. I've been here a long time. I was like, well, that may be true, but there's other things going on. And then some people are like, well, they're too young, or it's a girl, or it's a boy, or whatever, and that was really problematic. And it was like, the last thing I wanted to do was like put people in coats, but I was like, well, maybe if I change the uniform, if I change the egalitarian system that seems to be in place because we're all wearing the same rank and file outfit, that maybe the people that aren't able to understand what's going on can visualize it.
Sure.
Because on the flip side of that, I don't want people to think that because we're wearing a chef coat, it's out of like arrogance, or like we're just like, oh yeah, well now we're chefs, we're the ones who are like know what tastes good.
Well, I mean,
it's just, whatever.
I've run plenty of places and worked in plenty of places where people buy their own chef coats
Yeah.
and put their own names on them and put their like, I'm chef.
Yeah.
I'm Chef Camden, and I'm a chef now because you graduated. Well, no, I mean, just so you know, you're washing dishes right now.
Oh, dude, I wish I could schedule everybody that's a chef in our organization to wash dishes. I wash dishes at one point in my career, as I imagine you have, and I'll tell you what, if the best way to learn how to deglaze a pan properly is to become a dishwasher.
Yeah, it's true.
Red wine. Bulgur.
Some kind of acid, baby.
There you go. There you
Some
go.
kind of that. Like
That's why you've been holding on that for a month and a half.
For this conversation here.
Yeah, this
but
one right
it's we've touched base on this podcast that the dishwasher is like he's the man. It's not the executive chef. It starts with the dishwasher.
Well, I mean, for some places, if you, like we talked about this last time, if you have enough cultural capital, then as an executive chef, you're going to have guys who come in of all sorts of ages and ambition and experience, and they're going to be willing to wash dishes because in washing dishes, you can see what's going on.
That's good to hear. Because,
You know what I mean? Like, hey, I can't get into sushi on my, like uchi sushi on my own accord. But fuck it, I'll go wash dishes there.
Yeah.
Because if you're smart and you know what's going on, you know your craft, you can decipher and back engineer whatever you're watching.
Sure, and I guess
In other places
I think we
like
see
ours, you
more.
just, you know.
I don't know. Maybe it's a stereotype it's like people coming into the industry nowadays don't think they have to be a dishwasher, but like it.
I think
starts with the dishwasher.
I think all people should be trained on dishes. I'm a firm believer that, like, even like I'm like you, man. Like, you can't leave the line.
Sure.
You can do administrative duties, you can glad hand, and you can palm, and you can make people feel comfortable, and you can really focus on the customer experience. The customer experience equals all these things. But you don't maintain quality control unless you're like personally involved with the cadre on some level. And in doing that, you have to know what is happening. And I think like a dishwasher, everybody should have to wash dishes. Like myself, I would gladly schedule myself on a brutal Saturday dish day just so I would know that like my dish guy understands that I'm willing to walk a mile in his shoes.
Yeah.
That being said,
yes.
I'm going to put him on egg station on fucking brunch.
Yeah.
Right, it's a
Yeah.
full circle
Yeah, yeah.
because
But
you know you're on the line all day. When you get thrown in the dish, it's all hard work. Sometimes that can be a break for you.
Sometimes it is a break.
It's a relief, and it can be a
Oh,
relief for
yeah.
the dishwasher.
Yeah, you're like,
it's all hard work.
yeah.
No,
you know?
we've all done that numerous times. So it's just, but that's how you create family and respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you give them the option. It's like, hey, do you want to work on the line? And the fact that you're showing them that you're willing to do what they do, you know, it gives them a little bit more understanding. You know, they don't feel like they're better than you. They don't feel like you're cheating them out of anything. So
Yeah.
I mean,
once you show them that like you're willing, like, hey, fuck you, I'll scrub that pan. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out. And it's like, hey, you want to make more money? You got to do that. And they're like, oh, you know what? No.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing that. But if you show, I mean, I've had people, I'm sure you have too, that I've had people work for me for 15 years. They followed me from restaurant to restaurant or whatever. You know, there's people that are like, hey, when are you going to open another restaurant? I'll come work at that restaurant and all that sort of stuff. Just because they understand that I'm not the type of person to fuck them over or unappreciate them really is the main thing, not fuck them over. But
It kind of takes the shine off the chef coat.
yeah.
It makes the chef coat less about
That's why I don't wear a chef coat
just
anymore.
status as culture, but status in a hierarchy of understanding. Like, you know, okay. And I'm kind of hoping that three things happen. One, that the staff that we have begin with, they understand like, okay, the people that have the white coats, when they say something has to be done, it's not optional.
Sure.
But it's a well thought out of not optional. You know, it's not like just random emotions. Two, that the people that do work with me that don't wear the chef coats, maybe it triggers some kind of inspiration to want the accolades and like
Sure.
the feeling of like, hey, I'm putting on the coat and I'm getting it's a little bit of vanity and a little ego there. It's a nice charge. It's a good high.
They can go home and show their family that they just
Yeah.
got this. I mean, how cool is that?
How cool is that? I've done, you know, and it could be anybody. And the other thing is, and we talk about this, I think, a few times now, and I think everyone talks about this every day, is I'm kind of hoping that the people that come in and apply at the restaurant don't mistake the idea that an egalitarian uniform, a uniform that is not based on rank and file and is just a T-shirt that we all wear, isn't to be mistaken with a casualness that we take with our food.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. You guys
have a
both
lo-
have killer food.
You
so,
know, and we have
I mean, you can taste
we
that.
have a terrible time finding qualified candidates. I mean, you're like, oh, where do you want to work at? Well, I want to, I want to be at Emmer and Rye.
I get what you mean.
My friend
Yeah.
Josh just got hired there as a waiter. He's super excited. They do crazy awesome food.
Yeah.
But, the cats that want to work at Emmer and Rye, they want to work at Emmer and Rye. But there's places like, and I don't know what your structure is entirely, but man, there's a lot of freedom and creativity offered with our line that, like, honestly, if somebody of the caliber of individual who wanted to be at Emmer and Rye had that experience and came to us, man, they would fucking shine. It would be a catalyst for their career.
So I have a good story about this, right? So when I was still in culinary school in early 2000, we finished a practical, right? So when you finished early on in the days, when you finished practical early, they would just let you go. And so all the other students that were not capable of doing it, that you had, I mean, it's just like any other practical. You get 6 or 8 hours to finish it. And if you finished early, you could leave. So myself, my roommate, and the people that actually had cooking careers before they went to culinary school, we left. I went to McDonald's for breakfast. Went through the drive-thru. The drive-thru guy pops out and sees us all in our chef coats and says, "Hey, you guys going to culinary school, huh?" "Yeah, we just finished the practical. We just want to get some breakfast, and then we're going to go back, and I'm sure we're going to go get high or drink or whatever the fuck it was at 8 o'clock in the morning."
Sure.
And he's like, "Well," he's like, "I went to CIA." And we're like, "Oh, wow." He's like,
He was undercover.
"Yeah." And he's like, "And I'm a GM of a McDonald's." And he's like, I think he said something to the fact, he's like, "I make $65,000 a year. I have a 401k. I have a full benefits package. I have all of this stuff, and I take care of my family every single day. So know that when you get out of that school, you don't have to do what everybody expects you to do and go be some badass chef."
Right.
And like, I still hold that in my heart to this day.
That's cool.
You know? And he's like, I went to the most exclusive culinary school in the nation, essentially.
Right.
And here I am working at a McDonald's. And maybe he still is, maybe he's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe he was just trying to make himself feel better. I don't know, but
Great living.
Yeah.
65K, taking care of the family,
I'm sure.
benefits.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I bet it's more than that now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So and he probably, that was a franchise store or something, as they mostly are. And
He's got a boat and it says KFC on it, and he's happy.
you know what?
I'm in
And
my KFC Scarab.
Yeah,
Twin
and he's got
454s.
He's like, "Here's my Taco Bell retirement," or whatever. But I mean, people
Yeah.
got to do that stuff. I went to school with a girl that's now, or I don't know if she still is, but she was much older than I was. I was pretty young in culinary school, and she became a DO for like the Golden Corral.
Okay.
And it's a demand thing. They became very popular again. They revised their concept, and they
Are they
became
nationwide?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you do like CIA or Art Institute or?
I went to Le Cordon Bleu when I
Okay.
was here. Yeah.
They didn't have a. It's my understanding that when you do like their associate stuff, they don't really delve too much into the business aspect, right?
Yeah, not a lot.
That's one of the things that CIA always did was when
Yeah.
you went through their full program, and that's how you transfer from like being a certified, executive chef through the CIA or whatever. It's really the business education
Yeah.
that gets you where you got to go. And I wish more up and coming guys understood that, like, hey, you can have a tongue that's like for miles and miles, and you can like do all kinds of crazy shit. But if you can't pay your staff on Friday, you're not going to be around.
You guys are
you don't
both.
understand why.
Are you guys both doing?
Yeah, exactly.
These are you? Yeah, I mean, you are in this role where you're, doing payroll and all that, scheduling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You
Oh
yourself?
yeah, dude.
So, I mean, touch base on that a little bit.
It's
I mean,
like
most people equate cooking and chef, even executive chef, to cooking.
When it comes down to it, cooking, you have to have like the skill of the craft of understanding like meats and temperatures, and you can get like super like into it. You want to go like full on gastronomic chemical reactions. There's that. In the business, on this business side of it, the restaurant side,
Which is
being
the key. It's all business.
your chefs who, I think, in my opinion, chefs who adopt a restaurateur perspective of what they're doing have a better likelihood of making money doing what they love. Because you can create awesome art and you can create whatever, but if you're making money, you're allowed to keep going.
Yeah.
If you keep doing it, you're allowed to keep going. So I think sometimes, it's hard for people who are very creative to bridge over and get over that mindset. They're like, okay, I got this. I have this idea in my mind, and I dreamt about it last night. I was like, oh man, I want to make this pork chop with this awesome wild rice, and I'm going to cook the wild rice in like a really light pheasant stock, and I'm going to put like blueberries with it. I'm going to do all this crazy stuff, but that's going to cost me like 7 days of time and like $900 in ingredients, and I don't have the clientele that allows me to charge like $10,000 a head. So you tame it down and you begin to think like, okay, how can like I make money doing this? Like I'm sure there's days where you go to work and the most important thing on your mind is like, are we paying 35 cents an egg or are we paying 31 cents an egg?
Oh yeah.
Because in the end, once you fry the egg and you put it with everything else, like 90%, like not even 90%, like really like 99% of the people out there, they're not going to notice the difference day in, day out.
Well, we go through the thing, and I'm sure you do too, is you go from paying $10 a case to $30 a case for a case of eggs. So then you're looking at it, and so it's not that you're losing money because it's cents.
Right.
But you're definitely not making as much money. So you have
the margins shrink.
The margins shrink, and so you have to make sure that, okay, well, maybe we have one less cook, all that sort of stuff. And that's what people don't understand. It's, things might take a little bit longer because we can't afford another cook or something like that, and it's
inconvenient, but it's an inconvenient truth.
it's an inconvenient truth for sure.
Well,
your eggs will be delayed by global warming.
Either of you guys ever like seen somebody who's got the chops, who's totally creative in the kitchen, who is a workhorse, who, when they get thrown into the position to create a schedule and budget and cost a menu, that they
absolutely.
They don't have that.
They don't have it. Some people just can't think that way.
So where does that individual who has the potential and skills to be an executive chef, minus all the logistical,
they don't
parts,
become executive chefs.
right? So where do they end up?
They end up.
Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, they end up as sous chefs. They end up. You can end up as like
because even a sous chef will
a consultant.
You can be a consultant or something like that.
Brainstorming and ideas.
Yeah.
So he was a mentor of mine. He told me a long time ago, and I was actually an exec sous at a restaurant, and I left, and was a sous chef at a couple different places, and I left, and then I was really on a burnout, and they hired me on, and I was like, pay me this much money and to cook for you, and he's like, no, I'll pay you this much, and then after my first shift, he's like, all right, I'll pay you that much money. So I was just kind of doing some rediscovery for myself, and this was years ago. Excuse me, and I went upstairs one shift and talked to him, and he's in the office, and he's doing server checkouts, and he's going through and doing all that stuff, and he said, Camden, when you learn to do this, when you learn to handle money and do all that stuff, that's when you as a chef start making real money.
Okay.
So basically, when you start understanding the business of what it is that you're doing, man.
What'd you think about that initially? Because at that point in your life, you weren't looking at that stuff.
Yeah, I was young, and it was very much. I had an interesting period of time growing up with, my dad not wanting me to go to culinary school and all that sort of stuff. So that was so I was coming up on all that sort of stuff where he was finally recognizing what I was doing. And so that wasn't really on the top of my radar to be a GM. It wasn't on the top of my radar to be a restaurateur. I wanted to be a badass chef.
Right.
And that's what most
youthful people... It
youthful
almost could
people
take the wind out of your sails, right? You're like, wait a minute. I got to do paperwork?
Yeah, this is not...
It's not all...
And I'm not balking at paperwork.
Right.
When I was an executive... Well, no, I am an executive chef. When I was that, my paperwork that I did... My Excel spreadsheets, my food costs. You want me to hit that? You want me to hit that? You want me to hit that table? When you want me to do that?
This is the tribal.
Like that's you feel that? Right. Like my food cost sheets, my plate build sheets, all that stuff that I created based on what I learned from a past GM mentor. If you didn't have all your marbles in a row, he didn't give a fuck. He would ask you questions, be like, I don't give a shit until you bring me this. Don't come back to me until you have this. And then you bring it back and he's like, where's this? You're like, well, you didn't tell me to give him that. It's like, that's not my problem.
Right.
Figure this out. And that's where we got. And that's how I got to where I am today. It's like you cross all your T's and dot all your I's before you even walk in the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. And, when this other guy told me later down the road that, hey, this is what we need to do. And this is how you're going to make more money. I took it to heart. But I didn't recognize what it is that I needed to do because I didn't know what it was.
Right, sure.
And it's just like any other scenario where this industry is a very sink or swim thing, man. And until you,
Yeah, baby.
Until you have to fend for yourself, like literally, like you have to drag yourself out of the shit in the trenches and the fucking hole in the porta potty sort of thing, you don't fucking understand. And there's so many people that come into this that are jaded and think that this is the right way and this is the right thing to do and all that sort of stuff. And it is. You're absolutely right. It is probably the right way to do it. But when it comes down to business, and a lot of people, that's what I've taught most of my sous chefs and all my team of my family that have now moved on to being executive chefs or running their own shit. It's the business is more important than what the fuck you want to do. And
There's your vision, and then there's like the vision of the business.
well, it's the business. It's okay.
Hopefully they
so
align.
let's
Right.
break this down. There's the business owners, there's the chef, and it's what the people want. Is really what it is. So if you can't attach yourself or like move towards what the people want, then you're not doing anything right anyways. You're doing things for yourself. You're doing things for the owners.
Could be
So
very tricky, right?
It's super tricky.
The
man.
ideal situation is the business, the chef delivers, and the people want it.
Correct.
I mean, but if you have the business and the chef deliver, and the people kind of like, hey, but we could use this too, and you've got to kind of readjust.
I only want that once a month.
So
Yeah, right.
there's
And
a
this is
lot.
on the
There's a
menu
lot of
just for
that.
so and
There's a
so.
lot of that. There is like
Well, Contigo, I was there today, and they're completely revamping everything,
Well,
which is interesting to know.
the current mindset is like super quick, fast turnover, whatever. There's like a couple of theories, like, and I tie this in because there's like pool, what we call, I say we, but I'm not an economist or whatever, but
The,
like
the royal we.
the royal we, me,
We
myself, myself, and I.
We chef. We chef.
we chef. I like that. You can pull and you can push products, right? We serve breakfast. There's already a market for breakfast. Like people get up in the morning and they're hungry. So what do they eat? So there's a market for breakfast, and within that market for breakfast, there's all these varieties of things that are there for breakfast. And in essence, we compete with each other, and we also compete with fucking Krispy Kreme.
Sure.
Right, we compete with anybody who's open during our hours. It is serving people who are hungry during that time for what we call like a breakfast or a lunch or a brunch. So
Best meal of the day.
that
most
market,
important? I don't know.
our product,
Somebody said that one time.
our product is like pulled into the market. Right, it's already there. What we do is we fill a void, and then there's products where people push stuff. And I think that some restaurants, like some restaurants push an idea in. Mother's comes to mind. It's like a highly vegetarian / vegan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Depending on what you have, there's like no salt, and they do a lot of like
One location by Antonelli's cheese shop.
up north in Hyde Park.
Hyde Park.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I worked there once.
Oh yeah.
They, I had that experience. What they do.
We'll edit that out. Sorry.
There is a market already created because there are those people. It's a smaller market, so they're like a niche. But then there's places that push a product into the market. Like right now, we were talking like about Emmer and Rye earlier.
Yeah.
Emmer and Rye is not fulfilling a void in the restaurant market. They're not even fulfilling a void in the dinner market. They're pushing a product into the dinner market, and
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
and they're creating something that in a pool that's and they're pushing that product in. Our product, it's already necessary. There's this kind of
you
like
could say that your product could just be you got to walk downstairs and pour yourself a bowl of cereal.
You could say that, and you
Right.
could also say that
And
dinner's
it's
the
done
same
with.
way. Dinner's the same way. You could walk downstairs and you could pour yourself a bowl
Do you know how
of
much
cereal.
money that would save us?
Oh
We did
my
that.
God, dude.
Just there's a box of cereal.
But come on,
Do it.
You
cereal
never eat
for,
out.
cereal for dinner. Is
But you
very
see what
good.
I'm saying? Like,
Very
there's a
good.
pull and a push.
cereal bars were popular for a minute, right?
Does that stop?
I don't know.
Fanny packs are back, evidently, so why not cereal bars?
I need a fanny.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, in our and as chefs, I think people have to understand. Like, once I don't watch a lot of cooking shows, but when I do watch cooking shows, it seems to me that the people who are successful and win aren't always the ones who are just competent in creating something. They're competent in facets. They're competent in creating something that's representative of who they are. They have their personality down, and they understand the complexity of the production of the product, so they can get the people in and get the people out and make the money. And
Let me just Franklin's. When you think Franklin's, what do you think?
He won a James Beard Award.
He. You say he because we all think of Aaron, who is doing things like he is.
he's not the only one working there.
right. He's not the only one.
right,
but we
but-
all think Aaron
Yeah.
Franklin.
So,
right.
so
It's the same kind of thing, like a good chef who can like get into different areas.
why did he win a James Beard Award?
Why did he?
That's
a good question. Yeah.
Why did he win a James Beard Award? When you chalk him up next to all the competitors that are in this, I can't even think of their names right now.
I will say that it always helps to shake the hand of the president of the United
Well,
States.
sure.
What year was that? That he won that
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So
2
we
years
had
ago. So it was Chris Shepard out of Houston.
Last year was the chick from up
It
there at
was
Snows, man.
Barley Swine.
What about
The old lady, like
Laundrette?
the one who's like, "What's a James Beard Award?"
I don't remember that person.
She got,
She should have won it. Goddamn.
she's the only female pit boss in the United States. She's up at Snows, right?
Oh yeah,
She's the wife of the original pit
in
boss.
Tyler.
Yeah, and
In
she's
Tyler, Texas. Yeah.
yeah, and she's all like,
So why are these people winning James Beard Awards?
Well, where are you going with that? Why?
Well, because there's a story behind it. So what he was saying. So to carry on his conversation, the number one selling dish in my restaurant right now, by almost double, is the bacon and eggs dish. It's our badass bacon and eggs. It's a 5 to 6 ounce slab of bacon, some wheat toast, some eggs, some hash brown casserole, some smoked tomato salsa.
breakfast.
Yeah, right. It's breakfast. It's you're in a nutshell. My dad ate pecani sauce on all his stuff, so we make a
My
smoked
dad
tomato
ate
sauce.
ketchup. Oh,
Oh yeah, the ketchup. Yeah, I'm sorry.
ketchup
about
and
that.
scrambled eggs.
I'm sorry.
still want
I'm-
to punch him.
I'm sorry.
well,
I'm sorry about
you
that.
can do hot sauce. So with scrambled, I don't know.
But
they're both
like-
sweet. Right?
It's really about the tomato.
I think it's
and
about
the
yeah.
egg.
I think it's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the tomato
Well,
and the
there
egg.
you
So we make a smoked tomato salsa, which is our pecani, because my dad got the paste,
There you go.
all that sort of stuff, and that literally, we're going from 30 something items on numerous items to 60 something items that was on. Okay, so it's the basics of stuff, right? So we're looking at society these days, and we're looking at Aaron Franklin, for example.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
taking something as simple as smoking some meat. But that dude is a molecular, like the guy's a scientist, the guy, he's learned from the best of the best, and he's taking his own knowledge and his own fortitude to make what he's made today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So why? Because he cares. It's a simple thing. I remember meeting him a long time ago when I was at a food show, and he was just coming into town, or not even into town. He was just starting, and he had long hair, and he did his thing, and we chatted for a minute, and I was working for I don't know who, and he was just like, "I'm doing this." I'm like, "That sounds awesome." Now look at the man. He's a mad scientist of barbecue.
Right.
And the woman up in at Snows, I think it's in Tyler. I think.
Okay.
I can't remember where that
It's a-
location is, but it's
Okay. Yeah, she's in Tyler.
Tyler, Texas.
All right.
I think so. But I don't remember. That could be wrong. Don't quote me for anybody that's listening.
Sure.
I don't remember. But they've been around for a really long time, and the cool part about what they do is like it's such, the whole thing. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it whatever, and You know, I don't. That's one of the reasons I don't wear a chef coat, because I'm not trying to outclass anybody.
Right.
You know, it's a simple world what we do.
Yeah.
It's a hard knock world, but it's a simple world, and you know who can do it better, and who's going to make it taste better, and who's going to pay attention.
Right.
And that's what when I'm teaching people to smoke food at my trailer, and I'm teaching people to smoke food at the restaurant.
I don't know
just-
if Phil
I heard
knows you
this-
have the diner, but he's got Liberation Kitchen
Right.
across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was tempted.
So earlier,
I wanted to have a fish and chips on this table before.
earlier
You
when
can't.
I plugged my friend Jared Brown playing with the Transgressors just most recently. That's a dual plug because Aaron Franklin's the original bass player for the Transgressors.
Well, that's cool.
That's how I met him. I met him as like,
Back when he had long hair.
yeah, he's a bass player, you know. And the thing, and you're right that like, you know, he just keeps it simple. I was totally
Yes,
listening.
so you
I was
heard
like,
him. Okay,
Oh yeah,
okay.
like when I was off set,
But he really cares. Like
he does really care.
He you know, and he
And what he
he's-
does is, and so I don't have a degree, like from like a cordon
Sure.
bleu or
You can-
whatever. I can borrow yours.
You want
Whiteout.
you want a copy?
I have
Just
whiteout. You can.
You can have a copy. Yeah,
I went the
mine
long way around. I like,
know.
you know, started cooking as a kid and all that jazz.
Sure, so,
and
yeah.
eventually,
Which is honorable.
my career took me into anthropology.
too. Cool.
And what I love about barbecue is that, and I always get into this, like this poor people spiel. This is like the third
for
time
it.
I'll bring it up because it comes back every time. These things that we love the most in our diets, like essentially, however you cut it, eggs, bacon, tomato bread, right?
Sure.
Right. Good old fashioned breakfast. Barbecue, barbacoa, pit smoking, pit cooking, earthen oven cooking. It's a technology that's been with us for like, you know, since
Ancient.
we don't even know how long it's been around. We do know that pit cooking is like one of those earliest things, right? There's caves in South Africa where you have mussel deposits, mussel shell deposits, because somebody was like, fucking, you know what's really good? Smoked mussels. You know, some crazy primal version of the human being, you know, some ancient like ape man, whatever we want to call him, had like
Neanderthal.
our tongue.
Whatever you want.
Our tongue tells us, and our tongue is older than us, right? And so we have all these things going on, and it's like these simple things are always true to us because they are like the basics. Eggs for breakfast. What's more ancient than just crawling up a tree and grabbing an egg out of some bird nest and toss it in the fire?
Right.
Right. There's your continental breakfast. There's your poached egg. There's your your ash smoked egg.
Featured at Emerald.
Featured in Emerald Rye. We take this egg and we bury it in elderberry ash.
I'll tell you,
and-
man, that would probably be good.
It probably would, but you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
are very basic concepts.
Yeah.
They're always there. So, like, you know, when I was saying about the pull and the push, you know, some food is just there because it has to be. Like, it's a part of our nature.
Right.
You know, we need breakfast.
Yeah,
You know,
I
we
get
need lunch.
right.
We need, you know, the variation on those themes is when you get into like, you know, like I'm gonna do shubu shubu. I'm gonna like, hey, guess what? Here's your pot. You cook your own food.
Right.
You give me a lot of money to cook your own food.
Right.
But you know, there's like but you know, it's like because it's so simple, it almost seems unfair that as diners and as like proprietors of places or, you know, chefs or what have you, whatever we are, that our relationship even exists. Like we're really unnecessary. Like the whole the whole dinner dining thing is like really unnecessary. Like who,
Oh, well, I mean,
you know, he cooks what'd you say, a quarter-pound slab of bacon?
Yeah.
Quarter-pound, 4-ounce slab
But, I
of
mean,
bacon and eggs?
we
I mean,
could-
no
we
offense,
could-
but like, didn't like grandma do that? Like, we're kind of useless.
I mean, I made. Can you smell the bacon in the house now?
No.
Oh, I made a grilled cheese with bacon and egg right before you guys got here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, bacon. I mean, it's all. But you're not useless.
Did you charge yourself $14?
I paid $6 for a loaf of.
But did you charge yourself the $14?
No.
Hey, so
Absolutely
do you
not.
guys remember the conversation that Anthony Bourdain had about farm to table cooking?
No.
About
But this is just a disclaimer. This is chef to podcast to ear to people.
So we can't say AB.
Podcast. I don't know.
Oh.
But that's where this came from. Farm to table, people want to do that. Podcast.
Oh
people
yeah,
connect with
yeah,
their
yeah,
chef.
yeah. Chef to
So
ear.
when people go into Phoebes now, they can be like, "Man, that Camden, we shouldn't come back here."
You
No.
should not. Yeah, it's just I'm just a terrible, terrible person. But he said something to the fact that when farm to table was such a big thing, and the guy traveled the world, right?
Yes,
You
he
saw
did.
him, and he did all these sorts of things, and he had the respect for the people that came and they fished this and they did this and they did this, right? Well, and then there's the people that did farm to table. And there's nothing against farm to table, depending on what you do with it. I have utmost respect for all. I did it for a long time. I had a huge garden outside of one of my restaurants, and you know, supporting the local economy and all that sort of stuff. We still do that to this day. But he said, as a chef, just because you bought an apple off the tree of your neighbor and cut it up and put it on a plate, what did you do to make it different than anything else? You didn't do anything. It's your job as a chef to create something more. And people are getting accolades for literally taking a piece of apple or a piece of an apple and an orange and whatever and just literally cutting it up and putting it on a plate with some olive oil.
You mean because, excuse me, because they can just, this is farm to table.
It's farm to table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
They took some tarragon, and they took tarragon grows wild in Texas. So does epazote. So does a lot of those things. So tarragon, and then they got some apples off an apple tree, and then they took some. I mean, I'm just gonna make something up that's gonna sound fucking terrible, but it doesn't matter. They're gonna take some jalapeno, some okra, and some eggplant because all that grows like mad here.
I feel like you're describing some kind of wonderful chutney.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Some kind of like wild apple,
Baba ganoush.
wild apple okra
Yeah.
chutney.
But then they just cut it up and they put it on a plate. And his thing was like, what did you do as a chef? You just cut it up and put it on a plate. You didn't create anything. And I remember that distinctly because I was going through there was at that point in time, I was going to the farmer's market 3 days a week
Yeah.
and buying all this stuff. And then it just hit home with me. It said, what are you doing differently that people can't, and my mother is almost 70.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, I explain things to her. She's a medium of a sounding board, if you will. She has no idea the extent that what we do as chefs, but she's been around and she's been in my life for my entire life, obviously. But she said to me one time, I asked about something and she goes, it was really profound for her to say this. She says, Camden, if I can make that in my kitchen, she's like, why the fuck would I come to your restaurant? And I was just like, fair enough, mother, sort of thing. So it's our jobs. I mean, we create the basics for people, and nowadays nobody cooks anymore.
No.
It's
Well,
like,
number one-
nobody cooks. So back in the day, I feel like honestly, if I had opened Phoebes Diner 10 years ago, we wouldn't be as successful as we are right now.
You'd be successful. Nobody cooks in the sense of nobody really cooks at home. Nobody puts thought into it. But everyone has to scrounge for something first thing in the morning. Sure. There's fortunately for us, the diner culture, which goes back. I think most people
Decades for sure.
put us back in the 1950s. That's the quintessential idea of the diner. I put the diner further back than that. I put the diner back really into the age of the Great Depression, when you had to have low cost accessibility, poor people food. I even put the diner further back than that, and I would put the diner concept being the original restaurant concept. The idea of individual tables didn't come on the restaurant scene until the late 1800s. Up until then, it was communal tables. So sort of like the farm to table idea. The farm to table idea is not a new idea culinarily. It is a new idea politically
Sure.
and
Yes,
and
absolutely.
economically.
Absolutely.
It's how you rebel against giant farmico, right?
So
Farm
there's- and
slash
that's-
agrico, whatever, right?
That may be
GMOs.
how these guys think they're playing a role. But when you
Yeah.
heard that and it hit home, what do you do differently now? It's like you
Well,
personally.
I mean, I never.
Because it hit home with you. It
I'm a
makes
master
sense.
chef,
It
and
makes
I'm going to
sense.
go ahead and tell you that
Okay.
just so you know, the answer is that you don't have to do anything different because the apple is perfect.
So Cisco, just call Cisco.
What the fuck?
What-
This guy?
are we
Where did
calling
this guy? Where did this guy come from?
Are we calling farms? Or are we calling Cisco? I don't know.
No,
You can change
no,
the dish, grasshopper.
But you
As soon
still
as you
believe
purchase
in
it, it's
sourcing-
yours, and you do what you will with
I
it.
think it's easy to get
Okay,
caught
so-
up in the vision,
so-
or what do you call it? Like a facade of you're doing this farm to table.
It's
It's
a
like
facade. It is a
it's
facade.
hashtag farm to table.
It
Forget
is.
that.
It's a
but
marketing
you're gonna-
ploy. There's a
When
marketing
you see
aspect,
beyond
there's a
that,
political aspect,
support
there's an
your
economic
farmer.
aspect. Really, farm to table just means that, honestly, I think it's just an excuse to have ugly vegetables. Because people
Ugly.
accept the imperfect when it's farm to table.
Whoa.
The farm has imperfection. The natural has imperfection. 10 years ago, if like you weren't flying your fucking lobster in on a plane from like wherever bay,
Most fish, yeah, sure.
wherever bay, they're like, oh, I mean, we have oyster bars here, right? Man,
Clark's, right?
Right. So you go there and there's like whatever bay, whatever color oyster. There's Greyhound Bay, blue-tipped, silver tongue-lined oysters, right?
Sounds delicious.
Doesn't it though? It's amazing, Granted, when like you're just throwing it back, when you just like douse it with something, I don't care if it's horseradish or hot sauce
man.
or a fucking cracker or lemon juice and a beer, it really doesn't matter if it's just like a dirty Gulf Coast oyster. At that point, you're
Okay,
just
that's fair.
You're just
I'll give you that.
you're just slurping oysters and drinking beer, right?
I'll give you that.
Camden's on board.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that. But if you're going that, my wife is a very she's an oyster connoisseur, tequila connoisseur. So she likes the finer the finer things and stuff.
There
so,
are connoisseurs out there. And
So
there are
if
people
you-
with
if
those
you
like
sit there and-
palates.
yeah, if
and
you
they're
sit
like,
there-
oh, the combination is so. It's like,
Yeah.
there is that.
She's like, no, we're not going to eat that with that. We're just gonna. She'll dump it down and all. I mean, she's been married to me for
Yeah,
almost 15,
she's like
15
a 1%er.
15 yeah, for sure. But she,
Right, she is what
she-
those companies market themselves
Yeah.
to give us, so we feel like we're that person.
Sure.
But that's not really who we are. Really, who we are is just, man, I'm a crazy primate who's hungry for some brain food. So give me
Yeah.
oyster and a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oysters make me horny. I like oysters. Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
they an aphrodisiac?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
So beets, oysters.
I'm not
we
really
just-
sure which comes first. It's
Make- put it on the menu,
Is it a chicken
please.
or the egg? Were you horny before you had the oysters, or were
Well,
the,
Well, you're talking to a
the
guy,
thing
that's
about
an
the
easy
thing about the
answer.
oysters though, it's more of a visual thing to where it's like the egg, like it's supposed to.
People say that about-
acknowledge the ovary or whatever.
dude? I got a whole spiel on on
Yeah,
sexy
I don't know.
food.
We
dude.
can do another session on
Pomegranates.
sexy food. Yeah, pomegranates.
I've seen
Wheat
Wheat
squeezing
is considered
chocolate.
wheat's a sexy food.
I've never seen someone crack an egg on someone, but maybe we could.
Okay, so I got a funny story.
and then snort it because
Oh,
that's
no.
what, yeah, whatever.
I
got
know
a
somebody
funny
who's
story from
has
that.
nobody. I know, yeah.
Oh, no.
I know somebody who's had that happen to them.
Oh yeah.
I know somebody personally who is like, and I will
In the
not,
belly button.
not in the belly button, but with full on like
Are you okay?
had like
do you need- do
someone
you need to
crack
take
an
a break?
egg on them.
I do.
They were like here's
Really?
here's the egg. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And,
Jason-
then the chocolate syrup afterwards.
To my
or
dear
what?
friend out there, if you ever hear this, you are a full on pervert.
Yeah. No, that definitely
guy,
meets the standard.
Yeah. Well, I think he was saying with all the aphrodisiac talk,
That's what I was saying.
So
It's like,
beets-
man,
Cool.
Beets, oysters. What else can we? What
Dude,
can we
so-
concoct for a diner?
so here's-
to leave
chocolate.
chocolate.
So there's a whole slew of things out there that are considered. There's a term I can't remember what it's called, but there's a term other than aphrodisiac. It's the foods that we use as
They're sexually
symbol-
enticing.
or
Strawberries.
They're
strawberries because they're wet, they're moist,
Peaches.
they're sweet.
they're,
peaches.
emojis.
they're symbolic.
They are,
of
they are.
what
So
it is
eggplant.
that-
So
That's
here's
now.
a fun one.
Eggplant and donuts, yes.
Yeah.
For all of you.
Okay, so that's just
emojis.
emoji talk.
You know how long
What
it,
are we talking about? I
You
thought
know,
we were talking about emojis.
Eggplant, donut,
you know
guy
how,
with his finger pointed the right way.
yeah. Do you know how long it took me to get
The okay
that?
sign.
Yeah. Do you know how long it took me to understand that? And I was just like, I don't get it.
It's because you're old.
Eggplant and the donut. I
Hey,
don't
there
get
is
it.
something
Because
very gratifying.
Someone had to throw in the moist sign, didn't
And
they?
I was just
the
like-
splash.
I
Oh
don't-
yes,
I don't get
yeah,
it.
right. That is
Sploosh.
I think I literally had to have somebody explain. I was like, "What is that? I don't understand. Why do you keep sending that?"
Have you ever heard the
Who the hell was sending you?
I don't know. It's one of my fucked up chef buddies. But,
Have you ever heard the story of the tortellini?
oh my god!
So one of the
no.
mo- one of the-
Jesus, no.
One of the so
I'm a very
Sit
isolated
back,
person.
folks. Here's the story of the tortellini.
so there's a number of versions of this, right? In different versions.
How many
di-
versions?
I really don't have any idea. I just know that it's a number.
Do you know the best version though?
I know a version.
Okay.
I know it's kind of a generic version.
With a Chef Phil twist on it,
right?
I'm sure.
It's kind of a generic version. So this is an Italian story. According to Italian lore, the tortellini was created because at one point the goddess Venus, Aphrodite,
Sure.
since we're talking about aphrodisiacs, the term aphrodisiac comes from Aphrodite, right? She comes to Earth and she stays the night at an inn. The inn has food and beverages. It's a place you go to get rest and to restore yourself. It's a ristorante, right? So she's hanging out,
Okay.
and she's doing her ristorante.
Okay, gotcha.
She's doing her
The rest in the rest.
the rest in the restore. You hang out and you feed your horses and you have a good time and we all like drink and it's a good. And so she's there and she goes up to her room and she unclothes herself, she undresses, and the innkeeper, who is not seen something so beautiful in such a long time, is peeping through the keyhole.
Oh, see.
Dirty, creepy guy, right? So he's looking through the
That
keyhole.
would have been me.
And he catches the glimpse of the belly button of the Aphrodite, of the Venus. And he's so inspired that he goes downstairs and he takes his pasta and he stuffs the pasta and he rolls it up and he makes the perfect navel. And a really, really well-made tortellini is the size and the shape of the perfect navel of the perfect woman. Hot dog, right?
So, do we have any of those in Austin?
You know, it's hard to come by anybody who hand makes tortellini.
Well, you
Tortellini's a fucking bitch.
Do they make those at like Palazzo?
I think I don't think they make the perfect woman's light navel. I
I
think
mean, Palazzo's got to serve tortellini now, right?
you would think that
I know one of the managers at Palazzo,
So
so,
at one-
I should talk to him about
you
the
should
I
because
talk
at
to him
one
about
point the
tortellini, yeah.
executive chef at Palazzo and Expose, which closed down recently.
Sure.
We're talking about very local topics here.
Yeah.
They had a CIA grad as their executive chef. Unfortunately, the CIA doesn't teach this kind of stuff. This is like the anthropological history of food, and this is like the stuff that you don't get. This is like it's like the business classes.
Palazzo has an executive chef.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh well,
And
now I
they
have an
make
excuse to
a lot
stop
of
in
money
there.
too. They make really.
So
they,
your next stop on your
Yes.
truck?
No, tomorrow.
they probably
evening.
make more money than we do.
Oh, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
I
They have
had
a
no
lot
idea.
more fun.
So,
And
do we
dude,
know
it's
the
like
name
it's
of
like
the
with a
exec?
$7.99 all you can eat strip buffet, because that's why the strip steak's there, right? Because it's a strip
And they don't even have to have hairnets.
buffet.
I'm guessing
just
beets
saying.
and oysters are both on the menu.
Everybody's shaved.
This is
I
a
mean,
complete.
I mean, I was getting
I've
too
stretched that
too far into it. Anyways.
No, I had no idea though.
Next
Anybody
topic.
know
Next
that
next
shit?
topic. Jason Powers. What do you have?
But the chef, I'm sorry.
No, for real. At one point when I was looking around town, I was looking around town to see what was going on, just like as jobs go, and there was a position for like an executive chef at
I had no
at
idea.
Expo.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and oddly enough, it was the same time I was checking into the availability to be the executive chef at Hef's mansion, because Hugh
Oh yeah.
Hefner and this is when like being a chef gets to be like super cool. Like, it's one thing to be the executive chef at the White House. That guy's a badass. Don't let anybody fool you. If you can pull off a dinner for 500 fucking dignitaries on like gold leaf plates, everything's perfect and pristine, you're not fucking around. Like, and I've said this before, like, you know, I know my limitations as a human being and as a cook and whatever. There are guys doing things that we don't have any idea what they're doing because they're not in the restaurant industry and they're not getting the accolades they should. But that guy can make a foam. I guarantee it. He's like, oh, sure. He shits out of foam. Like for like 500 people who travel the world all the time, right? So you have like, you know, you got that guy. Like that guy is a CIA grad. You know, he's a badass. But, you know, I don't know.
Your problem is, bro. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
This is the Austin All Day podcast therapy session.
Sure, I'll come in here. Yeah, no problem.
All you need is the snuggly headphones and the SM7B, and you're set to go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let it all out.
Let's do it.
This is the walk-in. Scream, cry, do your thing.
This is the walk-in. You should market that shit. This is the walk-in.
Okay, this is the walk-in.
All right.
Okay, so I talked to a pedal maker, right? I think I told you all
did tell
this,
me
so
this.
this is deja vu. So I talked to a pedal maker who happens to have
Is that like a cobbler?
like these
Something that comes in the evening
no,
and makes your
yeah.
shoes and all that sort of
They
shit.
make your pedals.
They make
Where's
your pedals,
the
yeah.
no?
Make your
He's
pedals.
the soup peddler,
Oh, dude, that cat. I remember when he started, and I got to tell you,
the juice lamb, the whole
I
thing.
love
These guys are-
I love crazy like happy ending stories. And
That's
how
not a happy ending story,
the
right?
soup peddler.
Is it?
He's still around, isn't he?
Oh, yeah,
he still
he's
got
around.
shot.
Oh yeah,
But I thought
He
they
didn't
were
commit suicide or something. Fucked
no,
up, did
but
he?
the juice land and soup peddler, they were all partners, and then they got
Oh
into
well,
it. And,
so my understanding
yeah,
is
I
that
don't know
like
about that.
my understanding is that like Juice Land and Daily Juice, they
Oh,
were
Daily
partners,
Juice, okay.
right?
yes, he's correct.
I
with
got
that.
it.
And then
I
they
don't know
had-
about the soup peddler.
No, the soup peddler was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna make soups, and I'm gonna fucking pedal them around on my bicycle. I'm gonna pedal soups on my bike, and if you like my soup, you buy my soup." And people were like, "Hey, this guy makes really great soup." And the next thing you know, this guy who's just making soup ends up
making
legally
cold soup, making
making
gazpacho in 110-degree weather,
legally
instead of
making soup.
Yeah.
And granted, like I've never had the soup peddler soups. I don't know if they're like.
But he makes juices too.
So he used
well,
to be.
he has a
he.
that the soup peddler person, whoever that, I don't know if it's a he or she.
It's a guy.
I'm a man. I identify as male, so obviously all creatures in my brain come out male. Like my daughter, they're all girls. You know, you can give her a boy turtle, and she's like, "Oh yeah, her name is Daisy." Well, his name is Pedro. No, it's Daisy. He's got a penis. Doesn't matter. You know, so
Pedro with the peanuts.
whoever the soup peddler
Yeah,
is,
the penis.
that person has done very well, and they have what is their little kiosk kind of like joint stores where they do like the soups and then the drinks. But Daily Juice and Juice Land are like they're like that.
Fisticuffs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're one is like keep it local, the other is expand the horizons.
Daily juice.
Whichever
Yes.
whichever one has more than the other is the one that is expand the horizons.
Either way, Juice Land, Soup Peddler, Daily Juice, all fucking great places.
Yeah, you know, but Soup
yeah.
Peddler, the happy story is that this guy or gal was just like
It's a guy.
totally doing it illegally. I like that he's like, yeah, I'm like, you know,
It's a man.
It's a
It's a man. Well, he used to have I used to live in Point Venture, which is up by Lago Vista.
Okay.
And he used to rent one of the warehouses next to
Yeah, I get that.
this restaurant that I used to go to all the time. And like the guy wanted me to buy his restaurant. It was this burger place. It was called Bam's Roadhouse. It was right on the other side of that, and that's where his original shop was.
Oh.
But I mean, so that man biked a long way.
Man, you know,
He biked from Lago Vista all the way down to Austin and US. But anyways, that was where he expanded.
trailered his bike.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just.
You know,
Yeah.
I start
he's just doing a
as
good
soon
job.
as you say pedal to a chef, and then we're talking about the soup peddler. So this is a sign. This is a culinary arts podcast, strictly. I can't tell you guys. No tattoo artists. No.
I think-
No, bring in tattoo artists.
I
Bring
think you
in
should have a
we-
tattoo
else.
artist.
You guys know bands. Bands would be cool.
You know, I think if you had
Oh,
a
yeah.
tattoo artist, everyone in the room should like put their arms together in the center of the table You do like one composite tattoo.
Do you know how fucked up my arm would be after the third podcast?
Well, I mean, depends on which arm it is, and like, you know.
Oh, I could like change.
You get a lot of space over there. Yeah. Like
I
we
do.
could, could all like left-handed and get like a little line.
I mean, like, yeah. You're pretty filled up here. I don't know.
Sparse.
They were just ideas.
Sparse. It's been a long time. I mean, it's sparse. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
You have a sparrow, right?
well, it's actually
Or is it a swallow?
It's a pigeon, and he fucked up the tail. So he put a swallowtail on my pigeon. So it's actually it's a king pigeon.
Oh, okay.
Is the thing, but the guy fucked up the tail.
That's funny because I have what's supposed to be a dove carrying a little like olive leaf,
Yeah,
but as like olive like branch. But as I get older, it looks more and more like a seagull with a six-pack.
kind of. Yeah, sort of.
What is your experience with tattoo artists? Do you go in with something you want and they come back with, hey, that's cool, let's do this too?
Yes.
And do you listen to them
Yes.
always?
No.
Okay, because sometimes you say, no, this is
Yeah.
what I want, we're doing this.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you regret it after and say,
Always.
I should have listened to them? Same here. And
Always.
then
Always
the
listen to
one
your tattoo.
time, so every tattoo's that. They always said, oh, do this a little different. I always said, no, I came in here, this is what I want. And then the one time I went in for a tattoo on my back, and I wanted this monkey, and he's getting an apple shot off his head.
I really want to see that tattoo.
Man, you had me at...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what
I knew that was
yeah,
coming.
you had me. Monkey on the back,
So I
playing
knew that
William
was
Tell.
coming.
yeah.
Dude,
So
that's
I-
like
I
so
would-
brazen.
What does that even look like?
So I went there. I wanted like a realistic kind of thing. I just said, listen.
Is that all you have back there too?
Well, I said, it's not even colored. And I said, and it's big. And I said, listen.
Do you? This is what you have. You have the outline for this right now.
Yeah.
You have the outline
we
of a
have to-
monkey on your back playing William Tell. Holy shit, dude, that's so amazing. Why would you save that for now? Like that's you should
So
open
I
with
say
that.
this to the and he comes with the artwork, and it's like the one time I'm going to say, all right, I argue with every tattoo artist.
I'm gonna let you
I
do it.
trust you. And I fucking regret it so much. I should have said, revise it. I need this to look. He looks like he's flipping the bird because he's pointing to the apple, but he looks like he's flipping everybody off.
Well, hopefully he is.
Yeah. So I have this very
Hopefully he's like,
interesting tattoo
fuck
on
you,
my back.
I'm the monkey on your back playing William Tell.
It's about like that big. So yeah, there you go.
You know what we could do? We could do an episode of where, like multiple episodes of you getting your back finished.
We could do that.
That's how you tie in the tattoo artist and like the conversation, right?
Sure.
We sit around and we talk and we giggle and we laugh and we watch you get your back tattooed.
I like how that was put. Okay, and in that episode, we will reveal what the monkey looks like.
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
this one.
But we won't show you though, so it'll be fine.
You want to see the monkey on the back?
Funny stuff.
Oh, look at this guy! Look at this
yes.
guy!
I don't know.
He's getting
Pick it up
aggressive.
on a camera.
He's getting aggressive.
You know,
Let's see the monkey on the back.
The YouTube algorithm is watching. No, that's awesome, dude. Look at my head. Apple on my head. William Tell.
William.
Well,
So-
you tell when you shoot the arrow. They get the bow and arrow, and they shoot the.
To play William Tell, basically what you do is you stand there with an apple on your head and you let somebody else, a certain amount of paces away from you, with some kind of like projectile, remove the apple from your head. It can be a BB gun, it can be a bow and arrow, it can be...
That's what I was going for. It's a serious thing.
It
can be scary.
Yeah, but the look on the monkey's face is not helping your cause.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
the.
I don't know if
It's a little bit of. It's not that.
I don't know
it's
if
the
it's
look on the
serious
monkey's.
though. I feel like maybe it's more bravado, more like cojones than serious, because you don't have to be serious to be like brave.
Does it look traditional?
No.
Like
So I should have argued
traditional
with him, but I
koi?
didn't. That's the
And
moral
it's-
of the story is like, you can't just like argue with your tattoo artist your whole life and then say,
Sure.
"Oh, listen to
Sure.
him this time." If you don't like it and you see that, don't go with it because you might have a monkey on your back.
You literally do.
I literally do.
so. I just got like this crazy panicky text message. I'm going to step away from the table for a hot
Well,
second.
sure. We're gonna wrap this up, Chef.
Oh, awesome.
All right. So Camden,
Sure.
Chef Phil, thank you guys for coming in.